Hello and welcome back, and thank you for joining me. This is Ray Howell. I am the Chief Information Officer for Danger Aware and currently the main animator. But hopefully we can get somebody to come to work for us who knows what they're doing. But until that happens, I will continue showing you my learning process. So this is Improving the Puppet Part 2. And as I mentioned in the last video, the reason that we need to do an Improving the Puppet was because I had done this puppet about a year ago, and since in that year I've learned a lot of things and experimented on a lot of different things to try, I've come to some pretty good ideas of how to do things better than I had a year ago. So mainly I had to start with the head turn because I had used the rotate XY feature in the head turn but not the rest of the puppet, and that caused a distortion in the characters when I was trying to animate them. So I am correcting all of my puppets, and if you've seen how I did the heads in the past videos where I used the XY rotate, don't do that. Also, I use a minus 32 to 32 range for these actions when I associate these actions to these bones. It's been suggested by Moho that I not do it this way, that their preferred method is to use one lever for the negative numbers and one lever for the positive numbers. And the reason is, I believe, is because of when you set your constraints, you're using numbers and you're using a range in their constraints. As you can see, I'm using minus 32 degrees through 32 degrees. Now when you calculate that out, it's actually 65. From minus 1 to minus 32 is 32, and from 1 to 32 is 32, and then you add 0, you get 65, not 64. And so I've been using 64 as my range on my actions when I probably should be using 65. I've been resetting at 32, which if we set it to 65, it should reset at 33. So that you then got an even 32, 32 on each side of the 0 point. And why do we need to know about the 0 point? Because that's where your bone comes to rest. So when I set this bone up, the minus 32 is this little bar over here that shows that we can only turn this bone that far before it'll stop. The positive 32 is over here, and when it's at rest, it's at 0. So the 0 point is where your character is at rest. If you use minus 32, you would be using a full 32 positions for that lever. If you use positive 32, you're going to use a full 32 positions for that lever. The way I've been doing it, I've only been using 64, not in taking in consideration the 65. So from this point forward, I will be using 65 and splitting it at 33, and that'll work, and everything should be exactly as it should be. So let's try that. I'm not going to go changing all of these I've already done, but as I move forward, anything I add, I'll go to 65 and reset it at 33. Then as I have to work on actions, if I have to work on it, I'll update it. If I don't, I'll leave it. So here we go. So we're going to start with our character here. This was any red ant, any small red ant, and I started this process once before and I forgot to hit the screen to let you see what I was actually working on, and I didn't catch it, so I was talking and doing stuff, but none of it was showing on the screen. So I had to go back and start over. So I've now saved this character. I've changed its name to Simrel because it's not just a little red ant, it's actually Symbolant's relatives. So I need to change the name over here too, so I'm going to do that here. So this is now Simrel, and that's because this character will produce 8 octillion different individuals once I'm finished with everything working properly. So the next part of making this character or improving this character is to change the hands. So as you can see, these hands that I created a year ago, and I don't know if you've seen that video or if I even made a video of it, but I'm sure I did a video of something like it for other characters. But this was what my thinking was, that I wanted to be able to extend fingers in and out of the hand, and I wanted to be able to flip the hand, so I made a bone that would let me flip it, and then I wanted to be able to see the back of the hand as well, the front of the hand, so I created this bone to do that. And you can see I made it where it's just a tiny movement because all it was back or front, and then each of these simply folded the finger, made it smaller, 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 and then bigger, bigger, bigger into the hand. But the problem is these bones are attached to the finger bone, and I attached them out here at the tip, and that actually affected how everything worked. And so I've removed all the actions that I had for this hand, and that's because I'm going to completely rebuild this hand. In fact, I'm not going to use anything about this hand at all. I'm going to start by removing all these bones that we don't need anymore, exit the animation layer, go into the construction layer, which is frame 0, and then I'm going to select these bones and just hit delete on my keyboard and get rid of all of these bones that have to do with the hand and the fingers and flipping it around, because those are all now, in my opinion, the wrong way to do things. So, and someday I may come up with another way, or somebody else may come up with another way, and I'll look at their method and I'll go, let's do that. But for now, here's what I've come up with. My thinking was, well, we need to be able to see the hand pointing with the thumb up and with the point down, and looking at it pointing towards us. And then I thought, well, we also want to be able to see the back of the hand and pointing away from us. How's the easiest way I could do that? So it took me a while, but I've done that on the Symbolant character. And so let me open Symbolant version 22 here. This is Symbolant. That's the character that these characters are going to be relative of. So if you'll notice, there's some major differences between Symbolant and Simrel, and that's because I didn't want to be able to reproduce Symbolant directly using the Simrel. So the beard, the beard can be there or not depending on the character, but there's just some slight differences here and there to make sure that you can't accidentally reproduce Symbolant using these controls, even though we can create 8 octillion different versions of that red ant. None of them would be Symbolant because I've tried to make sure that none of those parts are going to work that way. So as you can see, I've got Symbolant's hands here already done, and his hands work a little bit more logically to me, but I'm a computer programmer, so the way I think is not the way most people think. I understand if none of this makes sense at the moment. Hopefully it will make sense though when you see it in operation. You can see I've got each finger laid out here with overlapping bones. The closer you get, you can see they're not overlapping, they're actually staggered in a pattern. And I use that same staggered pattern over here on the other hand, and I've come to think that this is probably my best layout for this, and that is, this is the little finger, this is the middle finger, and this is the forefinger. And if we were going to add another finger, I would drop it down here and bring the pinky finger down and put the ring finger where the pinky finger is. And as we zoom out, it almost appears as if they are exactly overlapping, but they're not. You can see each one of them. You can see how they're each one a different length, and each one has their own control bone here. But the reality is we're not going to use the hand pointed like this very often. More than likely, we're going to see those bones separated so we can see the palm of the hand, and that's what I've done here. So with this bone here, I've attached this to rotate the palm of the hand. So we can rotate the hand down or up. Now we're not in the animation layer. Just realize that the thumb is not working properly because we're not in animation frame 1 or larger. If we go into animation frame 1, then when I rotate it, you can see the thumb points the direction the hand is rotating. So that part is automatic. So now we've got our hand rotating, and as you can see, the finger bones are separating, and I've colored them to make them easy to identify, not only for looking at this video right now, but when I was laying out the parts, those colors come in very handy. So this one allows me to rotate the hand up or down. Yeah, we're not seeing the back of the hand, so that needed to be fixed, so I use this lever. But instead of just off and on, I got to thinking about, well, what if I want to cross the fingers? You know, what if I want to see fingers moving over top of each other, and maybe even the thumb going under some fingers and over others? So I came up with using a pattern of switching switch layers, or not switch layers, but instead of switch layers, using animated layer sort to change the order of the parts here in the hand so that we can overlap the fingers one over the other. As you can see, it depends on what you want. You can have each one overlapping, and then as we go towards the wrist, it flips to the back of the palm, or the back of the hand. The finger flipping continues, as you can see. So if you have an object in your hand, which I do, you can see here it's turned off. Wrong hand. Let's go to this hand. And we're going to turn that object on. So now when I rotate the hand, the object rotates with it, but it's in the palm of the hand, so we don't see it as it transitions from up and down. But you can see that the fingers remain in place, and they can be overlapped in different patterns all the way through. So we could layer these fingers out like this, close them in on the palm of the hand, and now the fingers are overlapping our object in hand. But as you can see, our middle finger's underneath while the thumb is on top and the forefinger is underneath. And that's because this is slightly off of center. If we go to center, then the object is outside the hand. Only at center is the object outside the hand. Every other position, the fingers are going to be gripping the object in some manner. So here we've got it completely gripped in the hand. Here we can get the little finger out, then we get the forefinger out, then we get the middle finger and little finger out, you know. So however you want to see the grip of whatever is in the hand, you can do that using this dynamic hand. Yes, it was a lot of work to set up. Yes, it was a lot of learning to get to here. And that's why I'm letting you guys see how to do it, because it's not easy. It wasn't easy to come up with, and it didn't always seem like the right way to go with things. But I think now that I can literally produce any hand on the go at any time while animating the character makes this, you know, just needed. We can literally produce any shot of the hand doing anything we want and make it look more natural than having a switch layer of just a few different possible hand poses. We can now have an infinite number of hand poses, literally. So you want him holding onto the stick gingerly, we can do that. We can bring the fingers out like this, bring the thumb over like this, and point it in like it should be. And there, our character's holding the stick gingerly. So it looks like he's holding a test tube, which is appropriate for Semblant. He is a smart little guy, and he would definitely be using a test tube to pour things. And, you know, he might be a little more careful and, you know, grip it better. Oops, I flipped the finger around, but the point is, you can zoom in to see the bones and manipulate the hand to produce whatever effect you're trying to go for. So you can get that finger there. Now he's holding it gingerly, but with a little bit more care. So any hand you need now, if you follow this pattern, you'll be able to do. And it would work with 4 fingers as well. It would just be a lot more work on the finger flipping process. So let's get to that on Semrel. Now, when I did Semblant, I created a few things to help me along, and that was the target here. So I'm going to copy this targeting. If I haven't already put it over here, I didn't. So I'm going to copy this targeting from Semblant. So I'm just going to copy the layer. So let's get back to the construction layer there. So now you can see those circles are showing me where each bone and connection goes. So here's the base of the thumb, here's the joint of the thumb, here's how far the bone should come up for the joint of the thumb, here's where all the fingers should interlace, and there, as you can see, it's pinky, middle, forefinger, and so I'm just going to copy the targeting so that I've got that in the other characters. So we're going to edit and copy layer, then we're going to go to Semrel, and then we want to put it right above the arms and paste layer. So right there, we paste layer. This won't work with Control C, Control V. It just does not work. So now, as you can see, my target does not line up with the arms, but it does line up with the core of the character, which is what is the character, you know, critical point. So I'm going to redo all the actions that I had here, and in fact, I think, let's see, let's look at the abdomen left. No, the abdomen left to right is good. As you can see, it's following that triangle. Very, the point was to be on the line, not be at the end of the line. So that is correct on that. So we don't need the bottom triangle there, even though it is how I set the core for the character. So what you can see here is that these arms are definitely wrong, because this character's arms are lower than Semblant's. One of the things that I made sure would be different from Semblant. So we're just going to grab these objects. We're going to go to the main line, because we don't want to be in an action when we do this. And we're going to grab those targets, and we're just going to drop them down to where they belong by using the center circle here, which should center right on this joining of bones here, so that I can then grab all of them. G to grab, then T, now shift and drag. So I can shift and drag it down, and I want to basically put it exactly center of all these bones here, as close as we can get. So right there is where we want it. It wouldn't have had to be that exact, but the closer you are to exact, the better your joints work. So that's the whole point of all this. So I'm not just doing the hands, I'm also doing the forearm and bicep to match these rotations. And as you can see, they're not correct at this point. So I'll fix that for each of those limbs. So now we're going to take these hands out. So I've got arms before and arms behind. So what I was doing was using a switch layer to choose whether I was showing both arms in front, both arms behind, right arm in front, left arm behind, or left arm in front and right arm behind. So the first thing I need to do is eliminate these switch layers, because all I want is one set of arms. I don't want to have to go the arms behind the thorax and the arms in front of the thorax. Although this works, and it works quite well actually, I think shifting layer levels is even better. So it uses less memory because we're not duplicating every part. And since the hands are very complex, if we duplicated the hands in back as well, it becomes much more memory intensive than if we use one set of hands and arms and move those in front of and back of the body. So that's what we're going to do, and I did that with the legs here too. So we're gonna eliminate the multiple legs as well and bring those out. But we're going to start with the arms. So we don't need the arms behind, so I'm just going to delete that altogether. And because it's a switch layer, now we don't see the other arm, and that's why we don't see this leg here right now in the construction layer, because I'm using switch layers to select which legs are being viewed and which arms. So I could go in here and tell this switch to show both, and so now I can see both. But what that means is I have a left arm, I have a right arm, and I have both arms. So I'm duplicating the right arm and the left arm again. So if we do that and then we duplicate again all of those for behind and in front, you can see how much we're just stacking memory use upon memory use that I'm going to show you will eliminate all that extra memory and make things work just the same way. You get the same exact effect. So I want both arms. I don't want the left arm, I don't want the right arm, I want both arms. So here I can see both. So I'm just going to take these both out of my switch layer there. And then I'm going to delete the switch layer. I don't need what's left, so I'm going to delete this. There. So you can see my arms are still there, and I deleted the arms behind already. So now I'm down to simply 2 arms and 2 hands. Okay, so you can see we got the biceps, the forearm, and the hand. So when I built this hand, I thought, let's put it all in one object. We can use bones and points to assign bones to points instead of the whole layer, and that's easy to do now for me. I struggled with it in the beginning, so I understand if it's hard to grasp all of the techniques that are available in Moho. But that's the beauty of Moho, is everything that we're doing, there's another way to do it generally. So first of all, to take this hand and then rotate it all the way down and have it in the middle at rest, we need it to be at the middle in rest position before we move forward. And it's best, I think, if you create complex objects with each set of complex items on its own layer. So we're going to delete this hand completely. But instead of recreating it step by step, I'm going to cheat and copy it from Symbolant because I want it to be the same as Symbolant. So that part I do want to be identical. And then also it's a complex object. It's not all on one layer. So here you can see the hand. I've got the thumb, I've got the forefinger, the middle finger, the small finger, and an object in hand, then the palm, all as separate objects. Then the forearm and bicep are outside of the hand object. So we still have bicep, forearm, and then the hand on top of that, but the hand is now a complex object, and it has not just layers, but the animated layers. So we're going to copy that layer. So we go over here, copy layer. Then we're going to go into SimRail, and we're going to delete the hand that's there, and then replace it by pasting that layer. And there it is. So now we can do that on the other hand. We don't have to go and copy the other hand and do that, because these are actually reversed layers. It will automatically reverse. So we're going to edit paste, and there's our hand. So now we've got the same hand as Symbolant, but we don't have all those bones. So that's where the targeting comes in. So I've created a target, and when you turn it on, you can see the colors are pinkish here. Now, because Symbolant is red, the pink targets is not a great idea. So I need to change those to something else. So we'll just go into styles here to the target, and it's right there. And we're going to change that to, let's go with a green. And then we're going to do the same thing on its stroke. Even though the stroke is tiny, it is there, but we want it to show up, and so we can see it. So now we can go in, and when we're on another layer, like the hand, and we're working on each part, we can still see the center lines for those targets, and we'll be able to use those to make sure we're putting everything in the right place. So now, as you can see, these bones are definitely not lining up and definitely not terminating where I need them to. So we're going to start with that, and you can see that I was very sloppy when I put these bones together the first time. I've learned a lot since then. So we're going to go to the bone layer, and we're going to grab the transform bone, and this one looks okay here. So let's zoom in and see how close we are. That is very close. So it's going right where the cross of this would be if we put a straight line between those corners. Yep, real close, a little bit off. So if I wanted to be exact, I'd want to come slightly to the right. So I would just grab that bone. Oops, and I moved it. So the first thing we want to do is get T on our keyboard for transform bone, so we can see the manipulative control. And you can see it's way over here. So we can't really get extremely close to where we want to be perfectly, but one click should do it. And so now I'm just taking a straight sheet of paper. I'm zooming in so that those crosshairs are very big, and I'm putting a piece of paper across, and I'm seeing that I've gone way too far. I'm about twice as far as I should be from where it was. So now I got to zoom out and try to get that even closer. So we hit T again, and we got to zoom out till we see the little spot, and we're just going to bring it back one click, just like that. And now that should be as close to perfect as we're going to be able to get. So I'm going to check the paper again, corners to corner, and yeah, it's there. So now we pick up this other bone, B for bone, T to grab it, and actually we can grab it here and move it, I believe. Yeah, we can move it up and down, we can't move it left and right. So grab it here, and then it will spring to hit the end of the other bone, if that's what you're wanting it to do. So then we use shift and go up and down to make sure we're going straight across. So now if we zoom in, we can see we're right in the center of that circle. And that means if our other circles are all lined up, and they are, then we should be able to get all these bones lined up straight and be identical to that of Symbolant. So here we're going to reduce this bone's length till it's right in the center. Then we're going to grab off the point and holding shift, wiggle it up and down just to make sure we're like, exactly directly 90 degrees to the right, or continuing straight off the prior bone. So now I've got it in the right spot and approximately the right length. I can use the paper to check how close, and that looks right on. So now we pick up this other bone, which is the palm of the hand, and we're going to put that right there. And you can see how it snaps too. And that wasn't the palm, that's the forearm. I'm getting ahead of myself. So there, now we've got the bone for the forearm in the center of the circle. Don't worry about the drawing right now. We're only worried about bones at the moment. We want to get all the bones set up, named, and laid out properly before we go any further. So now we're going to pick this one up and we're going to move it. And it's hard to see the exact tip when there's another bone already connected. So I like to just take this bone loose and move that. Then we can zoom in and select this bone and see where that tip is going to lie. So again, I'm pretty close. Take the paper, check the corners, and that's it. So now we grab this other bone and bring it down, and it is snapped to, and you can see it's pointing up. But if we hold shift when we grab it and move it, it'll snap to exactly perpendicular. So as you can see, we're still running, not exactly in the center anymore, but we're still very close enough for this kind of work. So again, you can't get everything identical, but you can get close. So now this bone is the palm of the hand, and as you can see, we need it to come to these 3 circles here. Now each circle is for the base of a different finger, and the little finger is shifted to the left, and the forefinger is shifted to the front, but the middle finger is in the center, and that's what we're shooting for. So now I'm going to bring this over, and I just want to hit that center of the light green and the center of the lines for the other 2 fingers. And then we zoom in, get close to make sure we're exactly where we want it to be. So you can see I'm a little off, but we'll get it right there. And now we hold shift and grab and let it center. So despite what I know it should be just slightly lower here, this is perpendicular. My drawing is off. So that's how you got to look at it. My drawing can be off, but Moho is going to make that bone go straight when I use shift. So now I need to make each of the bones for these 3 fingers. So the first one is going to be the middle finger. So we're going to grab this bone with B, and it's already selected, and then we're going to add a bone, and we're just going to start there and stretch out, and since it's the middle finger, it's going to go to the farthest circle. So we're going to go to the farthest circle's crosshair, and we want to be right in the center of that, this one here. And again, we can use a paper going to the visible corners, and if we go corner to corner and our tip is at the line, then we're right. So there we go. And now we grab it with T first and then shift and wiggle it up and down. You can see it moved slightly up. My drawing is slightly off at this point. Not a big deal, it's good enough. And now we need the finish bone for the tip of the finger. So I'm going to add and go off of that one. And again, we're going to the middle finger, which is the biggest one. So we're going to go to the largest circle's crosshair here, and we'll put that right there. And then again, T to grab the bone, shift, and then wiggle, and it looks like I've set it pretty close. So there we are. You can see at the end, my drawing is actually centered properly. So just that one circle is slightly off. So there we've got the bones for the middle finger. So now we're going to go back to the palm of the hand again and choose that bone. And now we're going to add the little finger. So we're going to hit A to add, but instead of starting from the bone, we're going to start at the center point of this darker green crosshair. So we're going to start right here and drag out, then we scroll out the wheel, and then we're going to go to the little finger, which would be the smallest circle. So we go to the center of its crosshair. We don't go up to the center of our line, we go to the center of the crosshair. And in fact, if we hit T now and grab the line and use Shift to center it, you can see it's centering there. Again, we use a simple piece of paper, check corners, and looks good to me. So now we can zoom out and add another bone. So just hit A to add, and we're going to add that bone, and it goes to the center of the smallest circle here. So again, just to there. And we hold T, then Shift and grab and center. So there's the pinky finger. So now we go into the palm of the hand again. So we hit B for bone, grab the palm, and we're going to add. And this time we're going to use this circle center here. So we get right in the center of that crosshair and start our line. And we scroll out, and we can use the right mouse button to move things around. And now we're going for the center of the center circle. The center of the center circle is offset up and forward from the middle finger. So now we hit T to grab it, and then Shift and grab to shake it, and now it's centered, and we go to add, and add the final bone. Again, this is the middle finger, so we go to the middle circle, and get it close, and hit T, Shift, grab, shake, and there it's now exactly where it needs to be. So now, I was going to use this final tip circle to try to get all the fingers tips the same, but I didn't use it actually, so I left that out. So now we need to go back and do one more bone. We've got the palm of the hand, so we're going to B for bone and palm of the hand, and then we're going to add the thumb bone here. Now see, when I was learning all this, I didn't know I could stick these bones anywhere I wanted them. So I'm just going to go here, I'm going to stick it in the center of this prior bone, and as close to the center, using a paper, I can see exactly where that should be, and that would be right there. So now there's my thumb base, and that comes over to the center of my thumb base bone, or circle here, target circle, right there. So I'm looking for the one that's crossed over. So again, we just want to be right in the center, and that should be about right there. Yeah. And so again, we hit T, and we can grab that and hold Shift and wiggle it, and you can see it's centered. And now we A to add, and we just start from right there and stretch this out to the center of this upper circle here. So these crosshairs are not showing where the bone should go. This circle up here shows where the bone should go. So there, we've got the thumb now. Now the next thing we need are, now those are all bones that manipulate the hand itself. So they're directly, sorry, excuse my language, they're directly related to the parts of the hand. So they go to those parts, and the parts move with the bone. Now we're going to add some control bones that will affect those bones. So at each base of each finger here, we want to add another bone that will control the length of the fingers and how they fold into the palm of the hand. So we're going to choose the palm of the hand again. We're not going off of the finger bones. We want these bones to be parented to the palm of the hand. So now we're going to add, and we're just going to add one bone for each of these finger sets and just come up to the length of that bone's circle. So this one would be the pinky, and we're just going to come up to the top of the pinky circle there. So then we go in and grab the middle one. We're going to grab the palm of the hand again. So B to the palm of the hand, and then A to add, and then we're going to add the one for the middle finger, and we're just going to go to the length of the middle finger circle. And this keeps these separate and easy to identify by height. And then finally we got the forefinger. Again, we use B for bone, grab the palm, hit A to add, and we add the finger bone for the forefinger. Oh, and that's the one that should be the middle bone, the middle circle. The first one, or the middle one, should have gone higher. So I'm going to hit T, grab the middle one, and put it up to the top circle there. Alright, so now they're the right lengths. And then we're going to add one just like that over here to the thumb. So we're going to grab the palm of the hand again with B, and simply grab the palm bone, then A, and add another bone here. And it's going to go right to the top of that circle. And then again, you hold T, hit T, hold Shift, and shake each of those to make sure they're each going perpendicular from the palm bone, so that they're all exactly where they should be. And there we got it. So now we can turn the target off, and you can see how all that worked out. That one's red, so we can't see it because symbol X red. So when we get off of that bone, so you can see that's the pinky bone control there, the forefinger bone control there, and the middle finger is in the middle and is the tallest. And that's the same with each of these bones going this way. So as you can see now, that with all those bones and all being see-through like that, it's kind of hard to determine which bone is which. So let's go ahead and color the bones. We'll start by looking at our hand here, and we'd see that the palm of the hand here is pink. So we're going to start with the palm of the hand here by selecting B for bone, and then we're going to change the color to pink so that it matches the parts here. Then we've got the object in hand. Now that's not got its own bone, so we're just going to parent that to the palm of the hand. Then we've got the small finger. So the small finger here is green. So we're going to grab all the bones that are the small finger, which as you can see they are laid out here. But we're going to go ahead and B for bone, grab this one, hold Shift, grab that one, and then we're going to grab its control bone, holding Shift. And now we've got all three of those bones selected, and we're just going to make them green. Then we're going to grab all the middle ones. So we're going to hold B for bone, grab the middle one, if I can get that one, then hold Shift, grab that middle one, then zoom out till I can see the tip and get, not that one, I got the wrong ones because I'm not zoomed in close enough. Alright, so I want this one and this one and this one, and those will be the color of the middle finger here, which is coral. Coral. Then we grab the other bones, so B for bone, Shift, hold, click, transfer the image, click, and those are the forefinger, which is cadet blue. Cadet blue. And then we've got the thumb, which is blue. So we're going to grab this bone, and then we're going to zoom in to try and make sure we get the right one. This one, this one, and now those are going to be blue. So the colors of the bones match the colors in the hand structure here. And when I build the hand, I simply go with the colors as they appear in the system. So if something is the first part of something, it's always going to be blue. So this was both arms, which we're going to get rid of that anyway. But this was both arms. It was the beginning of both arms. Then this was the beginning of the right arm. And then if you look, the left arm is cadet blue. So I just go from within the layer, from color to color to color, as it's laid out available here. So that's why my colors are what they are. So now we go back into the arm. We can see the hand. This is the first hand on this arm, so it's going to be blue. This is the first thumb on this hand. It's going to be blue, or the first extremity. second extremity, third extremity, fourth extremity, fifth extremity, if you want to call it that, and the sixth extremity, which is the base of the hand. So, and we want the base down at the bottom so that the fingers are on top of the palm for most activities. Now, we need to get rid of the strength on, oh, well, we're not quite done. We want to add 2 more bones to control the hand rotating and the hand stretching and not stretching, but flipping fingers over top of fingers. Okay, so we're going to add 2 more bones, but they're going to go off the forearm. So we're going to grab the forearm here, then we're going to add, and we're going to add a bone. Oh, we need to be in the bone layer. So we're going to add a bone up here, so it's out of the way, so we don't want it intersecting when the hand is opening. We don't want this bone being in the way of seeing what the hand is doing. So we're going to add this bone right back here, and this is going to be the wrist flip. So we want to be able to flip the wrist up and down, and if you hold shift while you're drawing, it keeps it straight to a 45, 90, and so on. So we're just going to make this about that long right there. Then we're going to grab the same forearm and add another bone, and this is going to be the one that's going to do our finger flipping around and so on. So putting it right here, we're directly behind the wrist, and we won't be interfering with the wrist when we're using these bones. So now we want to color those bones. So we're going to make the first one. This is going to be red, or no, purple, and then this one will be red, I think. Let me check similar so I'm consistent. Yeah, purple then red. So even though I'm thinking on a different puppet, I'm doing things the same way. So now we've got all of the bones laid out for the parts. Now we need to make sure all the parts line up properly. So we're going to bring our target back. And now we need to make our hand parts, arm parts, all rotate properly at the bone rotation. It's great to have the bones rotating in the right places, but if your parts are not also set properly, they're not going to be in the right places. So we're on the left arm, and there's the hand, and then here's the biceps. So we're going to go in here. Now you can see that the bone is going to rotate the part at the bone's location here where the joint is. So we want to make sure that this outer curve of our stroke is matching the stroke of our target. So we're going to pick this up, hit T, and grab the entire arm and just drag it over, and we want it to be right on that rotation. It doesn't have to match it as a circle, but with it on that edge, as it rotates, it's going to rotate on that circle. So that's what we need it to be. Now we're going to do the front, and you can see now we're way off, and we don't want to change, everything, because if we don't want to move it, we want to change it. So we're going to hit T and grab just this one point and bring it to the edge of our target circle. And again, it doesn't matter that it's going inside the target circle. What matters is that it ends on that target circle. So when the rotation happens on that circle with your stroke. All right, so we're going to go to the forearm, and we can see we need to do the same thing here. So we're just going to grab this point, not going to grab the whole arm, just going to grab this point and put it in touch with that circle. And that's it. Now we go to the other end, same thing. We need to be on the edge of the circle, because the edge of the circle is the stroke of the circle. The circle's target is 0.2 thickness, where our thickness here is 12. So that's 12, but the control stroke line, all it has to do is touch the stroke of the target, and then it will rotate properly at that position. So now we grab the hand Now I'm going to grab the hand as an entire object because I want everything to line up just like it did with Symbolant. And if I make the palm of the hand match with everything else moving with it, it should be a single action. But we have to grab the layer here to do so. So we're going to grab that layer, and then we have to imagine where that stroke is on the center of this palm of the hand. But we just bring that up and over, and we want that line, this line that's showing, I believe that's supposed to be right on our line there, but this other line is not. We want to look for the center of the stroke to be right there. Let's just look at Symbolant real quick because that's what we're trying to copy. And let's look at the same hand. So over here. And turn on the target. There we go. So you can see that that line is indeed going straight through our bone line. But this line is almost touching this next target circle. So let's go back to SimRel. And so we are up and down, but left and right, we're a little bit off. So we're just gonna pick it up and move it and bring it to the left just a bit to right there. So that puts that line right just about center. We can zoom in to make it more accurate. So let's do that. There we can see we can get it right on the center of that target line and on the bones line. So now all the other bones should line up. And we can see here the thumb base does. We go here and the thumb tip is moving the right direction from that center of that circle. And you can see all three of these are the same, and therefore we're good. So now we're done with the target. We can turn that off. And everything should be perfectly aligned. But now we need to assign all the parts to the bones. Before we do that, we need to grab all the bones and remove the strength from them. So if we look at the strength, you can see we've got a mess of strength here, and each of those are going to affect each of the others. So we're just going to grab B for bone. We're going to grab all these bones and then hit S for strength. And then we're going to go up here to bone strength and put in a 0. And now we know they're all minimal for the strength on the bones. So now we can start assigning them. So we're going to go back down to the left arm here. We're going to jump to the biceps, and it just moved on me, and that's not a good sign. But let me go back and see if it's moving. There, it is moving. So our bones are not lined up properly yet. Oh, there are actions affecting those bones. So this is where I want it set up, but because I already had actions affecting these two bones, those actions are still putting those bones back to the way they were when I created those actions, which means that I need to remove any action that has to do with these bones on the character's shoulders and forward. So that would be, let's see, if we select the bones that we're concerned about. So I'm mostly concerned about these two bones. So let's start with those, and then we're going to go through each of our actions here. And if those bones are used in that action, they will show up here as red on our timeline. And as you can see, they're not used, but they are reset. And so I was resetting a lot of things back a year ago. Don't reset everything, only reset what you're working with. Resetting everything else, as you can see, can cause you future issues. So now I just need to go through each of these actions, looking for red bones. And there we go. And this one is actually an action, And so we're going to have to redo it once we're finished with the hands. But no big deal, I was expecting that. So we go here, and we do have action on those bones. So we're just going to remove it. And abdomen size, nothing. Wings, nothing. Eyes, antenna, heft, there's going to be something. Oh, it's not. Because I didn't change the bones on yet. So only the actions where you actually affect the bones will have anything in them. I don't know if there's anyone watching or if you have questions, but if you do, I'll put this on the YouTube site in a week or so, and you can go there and ask me questions, and I'll answer if I can. If I can't, I'll find out the answer. So, there we go. I think that did it. But we're still getting a change. Something is still changing those bones. Is it just this one? Oh, it's the arm itself. Okay, so now anywhere that I've affected the actual object of the biceps, because I don't think, let me check again. Yeah, the bones are not moving now. See, it's not the bone, it is the object itself. So now we go in and we select each of these objects, and it should show us anywhere that it's being used by highlighting it. So it's easier to find the object than it is to find the bone. But here we go. We go to the heft, and we're simply going to remove all of it because it's going to change. Everything's got to change. So we're just going to remove that. And let's do that for, oh, I'm on the wrong arm. But it still had something there for it. That's weird. So here we go. There's the forearm. Of all of that. Well, let's see. Yeah, we gotta get rid of all of it. It's all gonna change. So there we go. We're back to normal, and then we choose the biceps, and the same thing there. So there was some action on the other biceps, and there's some action on the other forearm. So I definitely had some issues with what I was trying to do there. And it was probably all because I was trying to use switch layers. So there we go. Now I've cleaned it up. The other side's clear, and this side's clear. So now we can assign the bones as they should go. Let's go back to the base character, and we're going to just go back to the main line. And now we want the arm not changing at all. We can see the head's changing. We have some things to fix on the head up and down looks like. So now we've got all these bones created and laid out, and we're going to simply apply them to each of the parts here. So we start with the biceps. Now that we've got the shape right, then we simply create the link to the whole layer. And then the forearm, same thing, looks like it's already done, but we need to make sure. Then the palm of the hand is only the palm bone. Then the object in hand also goes to the palm bone. Then the small finger, that's got two joints, as you can see, and there's two bones and there's two parts. So we're going to grab the base bone, so you'll B for bone, and grab this bone, and then I, and we're going to bind the points to that bone. Then we grab the tip bone and hit I, and we're going to grab the tip parts and bind those points to that bone. So now when we go back to the bone layer and we want to manipulate the little finger, we can grab the little finger bone, and you can see it's grabbing the thumb for some reason, but it's definitely doing the little finger. So the thumb is not supposed to be working off of those points or those bones, but then we can check the overlap of the finger joints, and they look very good there. Alright, so let's go through and do the thumb, since it's messing with us at the moment. So we'll grab the thumb here, go back to the bone layer. We want to grab the bone. So B for bone, and grab the base bone, hit I, grab these points and bind them, hit the base bone, grab this, hit I, or the tip bone, not the base, bind those points. So now we can test that here without going to the bone layer. So we can see that the thumb is actually working here. So as it should. Rotate that like that. It's a little bit off on the rotation there. In one direction, but not the other. But it's super close. I'm going to leave it alone. It's close enough. So now we're going to go to the middle finger. Wrong hand, middle finger. We're going to grab the middle bone. So B for bone, grab this middle bone. Scroll out, hit I, grab the edge of this part, bind it, hit B for bone, grab the middle finger tip, hit I, bind the tip points to that bone. Then we're going to grab the forefinger, go to the base of the forefinger bones, hit B for bone, grab that bone, I to grab the points, B, and then bind them. Then zoom in, and grab the middle bone there, which is the tip of the forefinger, and I to grab the tip of the forefinger object and bind the points. So now the object in hand is, that's done, and the thumb's done. So I believe we've got our manipulable hand. So we can already make the fingers do things that we want it to do. And there's the thumb, and it looks like a thumb. So there we go. We've got our hand rig to manipulate it. And as you can see, the rotation works because it's rotating on the stroke. Same here, we're rotating on the stroke of the object. And that way our overlaps for our elbow looks like an elbow no matter how we rotate it. And the same with the shoulder, and then of course the shoulder can move up and down a bit. So as you can see, we got that thumb thing happening on the other hand still. And it's probably because of the name of the bone, which means that I haven't named my bones, and that's why I'm getting these weird effects. So if we go to the bone layer and we go to the bones here, we can drop this down and we can see all those new bones that we added. So we're going to go to each one. Let's change him for a moment. I don't want to lose my colors, but let's just make him transparent. Leave a little bit there to see. And then the hand. now we can see through his upper part anyway, his upper body, to see all the bones and the effect of each change. So now, let's grab this bone. I saw something change, but it's gotta be one of these bones. Oh, there it is. See, it's highlighted. It's just I couldn't see it. Alright, so that is the middle finger. So that's the left middle finger base. I like to be very descriptive. So I'm just going to start grabbing bones and naming them instead of pulling them up one at a time. So this is the left little finger base. This is the left forefinger base. And then these are controls for extending. So this is the left little finger extend. And this would be the left middle finger extend. And then finally this would be the left forefinger extend. And we need to do the tips, so we go and grab each of those. So left little finger tip. You should probably call it pinky. Left middle finger tip. And left forefinger tip. So now I've got those named. And let's see if we got any bones left over without names. Yeah, oh, we got the control bones and the thumb. So that one's the thumb's base. So left thumb base. Left thumb tip. Extend. And left wrist twist. And left hand reverse. Because it's reversing the palm of the hand as well as the order of the fingers. So it's more than a reverse, but it works just calling it reverse. So there we've got our bones named, so we shouldn't have any bones left over without a name. Very good. So now they are all functional. We need to create the actions that manipulate that hand. What we want to do is select a bone and program it to do what it needs to do. So this is going to be the left thumb extend. We'll start there. So left thumb extend. And I didn't set the constraints. So we can do that here now. And we're going to go minus 32 to 32. Now that gives us 65 degrees. So we need to go start at 1 for the minimal position. So we're going to rotate this bone to the farthest left it can move. Then we're going to move to the top position, which is 65, and we're going to rotate all the way to the right. And then our reset point is going to be 33. That should be exact straight up center. So there we go. So now, what is that bone that is going to extend the thumb? So now we're going to grab the thumb bones, so we hit V for bone, grab this one, and hold shift, and grab that one, and then hit T, because we're going to transform them during this action. And how are we transforming them? We're going to make them longer. We're going to change their scale to 125. So they're both 25% longer than they were. And then we're going to go all the way to the bottom, and we're going to make them smaller than they were, and we're going to go down as much as 30%. So now the thumb is only 30% the length it was, which means it could be pointing outward at us. So then we go to 33, and we need to reset those bones because they will not automatically return to their center exactly. So we hit reset. So there we go. We've got the reset for 32 or 33. We go down to 1 for 30% length, and then we go up to 65 for maximum length. And then the reset is at 33. So there the thumb extend is done. Let's do the forefinger next. So we're going to go to the forefinger extend, create an action for that. We didn't set the constraints, so let's go back out to the main line and just grab all 3 of those bones, because we do need constraints on all 3 of these, and we'll just set those all to the proper minus 32 and 32. Oops. So now they have their bone constraints set. We can go back into selecting no bones, and then left forefinger extend. So we grab that bone because we're at position 1 in our timeline. So we grab that forefinger bone there and move it all the way to the left, jump to 65, and move it all the way to the right. So now at the far right, what we're going to do is extend the forefinger bones. So grab the first one, holding shift, we grab the second one, and now we don't have them both selected. Hit B for bone, select the first one, hold shift, and select the second one. Now I've got them both. I'm going to hit T, and I'm going to change their scale. Since the bone is pointing outward for the finger, I'm going to make it 125% of what it was. So now the finger is stretched by 25%. When we get to 33, we're going to want to set it back to what it was. So we're going to hit reset. So now at 33, the bones are at rest. They're not just back to 100%. They've been reset and released. It's important to understand that. Then when we get the finger folded all the way in, we don't want it to be 100% of what it was. Some of it should be taken up by the knuckle. So we're going to only have it be 90% of what it was. Now, you can see it's only at 90% and it's still pointing out. That doesn't help us yet. So what we need to do is grab B for bone, and then we're going to grab just the base bone for the forefinger and hit T. And then holding shift, we're going to bring it around and then back so that it's pointing towards the palm of the hand. So now that finger is pointing into the hand. And then as we come back, when we hit 16, we want it to still be pointing into the palm of the hand. So just like that, but we also want to reduce it. So we're going to need to select both of those bones again. But before I do that, I'm going to go to 17, and then at 17, we want the bone at the base pointing all the way back out. So now if we go from 16 to 17, the bone is simply flipping from left to right. And then at 16, we will have wanted it to have been reduced. So we want the scale of those both bones to change. So use B for bone. We've already got the base. Holding shift, I can grab the tip, You can see I've got both, and T, and we're going to just make these 10%, as if they're shrank as much as they can be. And then at 17, we also want it at 10%, because that's the shortest coming towards the palm of the hand. And then at 33, everything should be reset. So now if we look, that finger folds out towards the palm of the hand, and then right here it flips and goes further into the palm. Now, the only thing we need to ensure is that no matter where we're at, the rotation still works. So we're going to go to the main line, and we're going to rotate the tip of the forefinger. And if you look, now that we can see everything transparent, you can see how the stroke is overlapping the stroke of the other part, and it's lining up perfectly right now. So now when we extend that finger, we also want that rotation to still work. So we look and see if it's distorted, and it looks like it's as close as it needs to be. So we really don't need to adjust it there. So now we fold this bone inward, and if I watch as I'm going in, I can see that we are maintaining our rotation right on that circle, no matter how long we're making that bone. We're going to double check it on the inside here, and it's still rotating. You can still, it's slightly in a bit, I think, but you can still see that it's rotating on the stroke of the base of the thumb. So if we bring the thumb up like this, you can see that that's rotating on the thumb. And the forefinger is rotating on its base too. So there we go. So now we're going to go in and create the next one. So we go back to the main line. We're going to do the middle finger extend. So we select that tallest bone there, create an action for it. Middle finger extend, hit T to manipulate that bone, rotate that bone all the way to the left. Whoops, I didn't want to shrink it. I want to rotate it, not that one, yeah, that one. Rotate it all the way to the left for one, and jump to 65, and rotate it all the way to the left, or the right, to the extreme. So the far extreme. Now we're going to grab the middle finger bones. So B for bone here. And holding shift, scroll in and grab the other one. Hit T. And since we're fully extended, we want to be at 125%. Then at 33, we want to reset to 100%. Then at 17, we want to be at 10%. And at 16, we want to be at 10%. And then at 1, we want to be at 90%. Then we're going to select B for bone and select just the base bone for the middle finger. And then at 16, we want to grab it, the T, and rotate it towards the palm of the hand. And then at 1, we want to again make sure it's fully extended towards the palm of the hand. Then at 17, we want to make sure it's folded back out. And that should remain out the entire time to the end of the action. So now we've got that finger going back and forth. And we've got a little bit of change here happening. Oh, just the finger flip. Okay. That's all. All right, so there we go. The middle finger's done. So now we go back out to the main line. And we're going to do the pinky and little finger extend. Hit T, rotate the bone all the way to the minimal position, jump to 65, and rotate it to the maximum position. All right, and then we want to take the pinky base, so B for bone to grab the pinky base, and shift to grab the pinky tip. We've got both, hit T, and at this position we want 125%. At 33, I started to say 32, but at 33 we want to reset to 100%. And at 17 we want 10%, and followed by 16 at 10%. You can see it's 10.9, but that's because we haven't done anything with the base yet. We have the position 1, which is going to be 90. So now we've got our sizes. We're going to jump to, well, we could have stayed where we were. Hit T, or B for bone, and grab just the base bone of the pinky. And using T and shift, we're going to flip it around to pointing directly into the palm of the hand. At 17, it still needs to be pointing, so it's good to just grab and set it. Then at 16, we flip it back, and then all the way through from there on, it will stay where it belongs. So there we go, there's our little finger. So now we've got the thumb and each finger doing their extension. So let's go back to the main line, and we'll just test each one. So we're going to drag we'll go to the animation layer 1, and that changed everything, and it shouldn't have. Let's see. Let's go back here a second. Well, it's only changing one something. The pinky, oh, I must not have reset it properly. Is it the pinky? Hold on. No. It's the middle finger. Okay, so I missed something on the middle finger at reset. 33, and the bone is not extended back to where it belongs. B for bone, the middle finger here, holding shift, the second one, and then we're going to just reset our scale right here. So now everything should be right. Best way to check is to start at the construction layer, the bone layer, or the construction frame, the bone layer, and the timeline main line. And you go to the rest state, and then you jump to the manipulate bones, and there shouldn't be any discernible difference. I'm seeing a bone line shift, but I'm not seeing the parts of the finger moving, so looks like we're really close. There is a little movement there. Which one is it? They're all moving, and it's because this bone is moving. So let's check the base of the bone before it. It is. So here's our problem, is in this bone, but maybe this may be the issue right here. And I think it is, this base bone is moving too. Alright, so let's look at every action and see which ones are moving that bone. So when I did this earlier, I apparently missed that. Those are orange, not red. Oh, there we go, sex. Let's get rid of those. Oh, I see. The bone is moved way up. That means this one as well. Let's get rid of that. Okay. I'll bet you that was all it was. Oh, nope. Thorax size changes it too. A little bit. I'm on the other bone. So this one too. I guess I should be doing both of these bones at the same time. I think that might be all there was to it. Alright, so let's go back. And now let's see if we're getting any change. There we go. That is nice and clean now. Let's double check up close. Yeah, no movement. Further out you go, the more you'll notice any changes. So if we go to the fingertips, no change. So now our bones are not being affected by anything except what we're actually doing now. So now we've got these fingers will all bend. They'll all rotate at their joint. Thumb extends and rotates, and each bone extends. Just like that. And when they're extended, their rotation still looks good. Alright, so now we're ready to move on to the next part, which is to twist the wrist. So we're going to grab the wrist bone. Twist wrist bone. Say that 3 times fast. Create a new action. We didn't put any constraints. So we're going to go to bone constraints and make it minus 32, 32. And hit close. And since we're at 1, we'll rotate the control bone down. Then we're going to go to 65 and rotate it up. Alright, and so when it's up, we're going to bring the thumb up and we're going to bring these fingers up. And we're going to bring the palm. But it's easiest, I've learned, if we start with the fingers and then end with the thumb. So we're going to start with the bone layer. We're going to go in and we're going to grab the forefinger bones. So the base of the forefinger, so hit B for bone and grab that. And then we're going to grab the bone that controls its length as well. Hit T. And then we're going to shift and drag straight up. The shift keeps us from moving the finger left or right. Okay, so that we're only going up and down. Now, it's kind of hard to see, but I want it to overlap the middle finger just about halfway. So about there. Then we're going to go in and we're going to grab the bones for the pinky. So B for bone, hold shift, grab, hit T, and now I'm going to drag while holding shift downward. And again, we want to bring the finger so it's about halfway overlapping the other finger. So there I can see it now that we can see all the fingers. And now we can go in and grab the bones for the forefinger and move it up just a little more so it's about the halfway point. So we want them to overlap, but just a little bit. So there we go. We've got the fingers at the full, rotate the hand upward. So now we need to extend the palm of the hand. That is not a bone effect. That we do on the palm itself. So we're going to select the palm, hit key, grab it using Alt so that we stretch it from the center. We're going to just stretch it up until the forefinger, just the point here at the palm of the hand, overlaps the line of the forefinger. So that's where I start. Then I grab these 2 points and I move them upward to compensate, to make sure we're above the first finger there. And then the bottom, we're already past that first finger, but I like to grab these and bring those in just a bit. So we're expanding the palm of the hand a lot, but we're shrinking the final results and changing them slightly. So there's what our final palm looks like. So now we go back to the bone layer and we grab the bones for the thumb. So we go B for bone, grab the thumb, hold shift, grab this one, and then T, and then shift to drag straight up. I'm scrolling out on my scroll wheel and scrolling back in. And we simply want to overlap our stroke right here on the palm. That's where the thumb gets positioned, is with that stroke overlapping right there, just like that. No matter how your palm is shaped, you still don't want your thumb going above the palm when you're fully twisted up one way or the other. So now there's our up twist. When we go back to 0, or our 0 on our bone here with negative 32 to the left, 32 to the right, and centering on 0, then we want to reset all those bones. So we've got these selected, hit B and then shift, and select those, that one, that one, that one, and that one. And then we're going to reset those bones back to their proper position. So we don't want to do scale, the position. And there we go. So now when we jump down to 64, we want the fingers going the opposite direction. So we go in and go B again for bone. And now we're going to start again with the forefinger and holding shift, grab the second bone, hit T, and this time we're going to hold shift and drag straight down. And again, we want to overlap about halfway. It's about like right there, probably a little off. To zoom in, we grab the little finger, hit B for bone, grab the bone, hit shift, hit T, and holding shift, we're going to drag that bone straight up. And we want to overlap halfway. So now we can check the bottom one and see if we're halfway. We're not. So we now grab those bones and hit T and then bring it just to that halfway point. So we get a little bit more overlap on our fingers because on this character the fingers are getting thicker at the tips compared to some other characters when they get thinner. And then we're going to go to the palm of the right hand, there, or the left hand. And you can see the palm is not identical up and down. So we need to grab it and we need to flip it to be flipped at this point and stretched over. So now I'm holding Alt, I can stretch the hand until again the red point here just touches the stroke of the forefinger. Okay? Then I'm going to grab those 2 points, hit T, and then drag them up to just outside of the forefinger. And then the small finger, or the small side of the hand, I'm going to grab these 2 points and bring them down until it just touches the stroke of the center of the palm, of the finger there, of the little finger. So now I can go back to the bone layer and grab the bones and move them the right direction. Problem is, it's backwards. So that's not what I want. I want that to be the other side of the thumb. So I have to grab this bone only and flip it so that the thumb is now down. But you can see my stroke is still really close. So we're going to grab B for bone and T, and then we're just going to get that positioned exactly where it should be. Now this other bone, I don't like it being pointed into the palm of the hand. I like it to be where I expect it to be. So I'm going to grab it and I'm going to flip it as well, but this way. So now it's pointing downward when I need it. Now when we get back to 33, it should be back to neutral where it was. You see at 32, they're still swapped. So at 32, we want to do a swap on each bone, just so that we've set that that's what it should be at right now. Then we're going to go to 33, and then just change them back to what they were. Whoops, wrong one for wrong bone. What they were before we did anything to them. So we put that one like that. So now those should stay that way, going all the way through, opening the palm this way. Now, as you can see, the palm is getting squished to a tiny little streak there because of us flipping it here. So we're going to go to the palm at 33 and grab the palm, the object itself, wrong palm, there we go, grab the object itself and then reset it. And then on the flip, we're going to reset it and then flip it. So now it should continue to open as the palm of the hand that direction, and the flip is almost indiscernible. So there we go. So now we can see that our hand is flipping the fingers and the thumb just exactly as we like. So now we go back to the main line, go to the bone layer, go to frame 1. Whoops, I didn't want to bring that up. And then on frame 1, we can now bend the fingers as we could before. The thumb. And we can rotate the hand up and down. Now when the thumb is down, you can see I still need to bring it around the right direction. But if it's centered, it will be in the same position. So if it's in its rest state like this, it flows through naturally both directions, just like that. So there we've got our hand flip, and you can see the bones keep their angle no matter what. So the more we stretch these out straight, you can see exactly the hand rotation now. So just got to be good at it. So there you can see when you rotate, the fingers are all ready to drop. There we go. So now we need to finalize this hand. We're going to add the rotate hand part. So we go back to the construction layer. Let's go ahead and clear animation from document. And now we're going to do this bone. To do this bone, it takes changing the order of each of these parts while this moves one point at a time. So first of all, we want to put our constraints on it. So we want minus 32 to 32. And we want to create the action, which is the left hand reverse. tool pops up. We're going to rotate all the way to the left. Jump to 65. And need to put an onion skin there. And rotate it all the way to the right. Now we need to know what finger goes where and when. So I've created a chart for that. So I'm going to just go right here above my funnel wheel, and I'm going to add an image, character development, and we want the 3-finger hand with the object. So here's 3-finger hand bone layout. Here's the object chart. So now you can see there's our chart. We're going to bring it down so we're working where our hand is. We really don't need to, but it just makes it all work better if you can see what you're trying to work on. Alright, so there we go. So what we need to do now is go into our timeline on the reverse hand. And at our minimal position, where'd our chart go? Our chart went back to its first place. Let's bring our chart back. Here's our chart. We're going to do from 1 to 65, with, well, 63 is our last position. So it carries 63, 64, 65. But at each position, we need our layout on our fingers to match this chart. So we got 4-finger, middle finger, pinky, thumb, object in hand, and then palm of hand. So the palm of the hand stays the same all the way up to here, at which point it jumps to the other side. And then everything else changes. You can see the thumb and the object, they stay together throughout, no matter where we put them, except at the final set, and except at the center where they are together but reversed. We want the left arm, left hand. So here's the left hand. So you can see we've got thumb, 4-finger, middle finger, small finger, object, palm. On small finger, it should be pinky, or K for pinky is what I put on my chart. I should change it to S for small finger, and then R for ring finger. So anyway, we want our 4-finger on top, middle finger, then pinky. So we want 4-finger, middle, pinky. That's what we've got there. Then we want the thumb. So we're going to just grab this thumb and drag it down. Now, the only reason I can do this during an animation is because I've set the depth sort to enable animated layer order. So that means that we can change this order during animation, but it will return to its rest state in the construction layer. Alright, so we're going to make sure that that's on, and then we can change these settings. And you can see it shows on the timeline as layer ordering with a white band, and then it places little boxes wherever you change things. So now we're going to go to number 3. So we're at frame 3 now here. And at frame 3 here, we want middle, 4-finger, and then the rest is the same as it was. So I just need to come over here and move the middle finger over the 4-finger, and we're now done with that setting. Now we go to 5, and at 5 we bring the pinky to the top, followed by the 4-finger. So we just bring the pinky up, followed by the 4-finger, and we're done with that one. We move to the next one, which is 7, and we're back to the 4-finger up on top, but then the pinky and the middle finger. Then at number 9, we want the middle finger on top with the pinky in the middle. So we put the 4-finger on top, or the middle finger on top, and we put the 4-finger on the bottom of the little finger. So now we've got MS or MKF TOP. Then at 11, we want to put the pinky on top, the middle finger in the middle, and the 4-finger, and then TOP. So we're already to the first group here. So we're going to move to 13, and you can see on the timeline here, I move by using the keyboard. And now we want 4 middle thumb again. Oh, we want 4 middle pinky, but the thumb and the object have moved up to be in between the middle finger and the pinky. So we're moving up the group. So we're going to take and put 4 finger middle small, just like it should be to begin with. So there we go. Then we're going to grab the thumb and the object, and together we're going to move them one position up. So now we're just doing the same rotation we did here all the way through, but the top 2 are changing and then the third one's down here. Other than that, it's the same thing all the way through. So at 15, we want the middle finger on top, and that's the only change. At 17 though, the pinky comes up, so we bring it to the very top, and then the middle finger goes to where the pinky was. So we've got pinky, forefinger, thumb, object, middle, palm. So pinky, forefinger, thumb, object, middle, palm. So 19, we went forefinger followed by the pinky. So that's just that. Everything else remained the same. Then at 21, we want the middle finger back up on top and the forefinger down below. Then at 23, the pinky goes on top, then we got the middle, and then thumb, object, and then forefinger, palm. 25, and you can see the chart kind of changes a little here. Instead of 6 and 6, now we got 3, then 1 with a span of 4, and then 3 again. And that's just the way it worked out. So start with forefinger and then thumb and object. So fourth finger on top, then small finger and middle finger go below all of that. Let's see, oops. Yeah. So now we've got 2 fingers below the thumb and the object. All right? And it should be, whoops, the forefinger should be at first. 25, yeah. Then it should be the middle finger down there. So again, forefinger, middle, small. It's just the thumb and the object are interrupting the flow of the pattern. So then the next one at 27, we need the middle finger to jump on top and the forefinger to come down. Then at 29, the pinky is on top and the middle finger drops under the forefinger. All right, so now we're at 31, which is actually 31, 32, 33, and 34. And this is the only point at which the object is the very top item. It's outside of the hand. And then after that, we want our standard pattern, but the thumb goes below the object. Then we go forefinger, middle finger, small finger, palm. Okay, so object, thumb, forefinger, middle finger, pinky, palm. Thumb, forefinger, middle finger, pinky, palm. All right, now we go not 2 forward, but 4 forward to 35. At 35, forefinger again goes on top, then followed by the thumb, then followed by the object. Don't forget to move the object back below the thumb. And then we want the pinky followed by the middle finger. Then at 37, we're going to bring the middle finger all the way to the top and bring the forefinger below the pinky. And then at 39, the middle finger comes back to be above the forefinger. So our final pattern is small finger, then the thumb object, then middle finger, forefinger. All right, now we're going to move on to 41. And now you can see the thumb and the object are all the way to the top. So we're just going to move those up and move the little finger down. down. And we want forefinger, middle finger, small finger. Forefinger, middle finger, small finger. And then 43, we simply reverse the middle finger and the forefinger. 35, or 45, I mean, we make the pinky, forefinger, middle. Pinky, forefinger, middle. 47, it's forefinger, pinky, middle. 49, it is middle, pinky, forefinger. All right, and now we go to 51, and we want pinky, middle, and forefinger. 53, we now bring the palm of the hand to the top, and that means the palm will be over top of everything else. We also bring the thumb all the way to the opposite of the palm, and now we match our patterns. Here again, forefinger, middle finger, pinky, but as you can see, the thumb is going to stay on the bottom now, the palm is going to stay on the top, and only the object is going to migrate every 2 finger changes. So we need palm, forefinger, middle. So palm, forefinger, middle, then object, and then the small finger. So the forefinger needs to go back up to the top. So we got palm, forefinger, middle finger, object, small finger, thumb. 55, palm, middle finger. Palm, middle finger. Yeah, so that goes to the top. Then forefinger, then objects, small finger, and thumb. Now, next, we bring the pinky up, all the way below the palm. Then the object. Then the forefinger, then the middle finger. Then 59 is the forefinger at the top and the pinky above the middle finger. So F-O, pinky is F-O-K-M. So F-O-K-M. There we go. Then 61, we want the palm, then the object, and then the middle finger, then the small finger, and then finally the forefinger. And then at 63, our final position, we simply reverse the middle and small finger. So we end up with small, middle, and 4. So that's it. The hand is complete. Let's go back to the main line. The bone layer, and we're going to go into animation frame 1. We are going to rotate the hand. We're going to extend the fingers. We're going to cross the fingers over each other. And then we're going to run through the overlaps. That's body. It's already opaque. So let's go take hand. Try not to change colors in an action unless that's what you're wanting to do. Okay, now, there we go. Now we can go in the animation layer, we can manipulate the bones, and there we go. You can see the fingers overlapping each other, as they should. depending on what you want. So whatever fingers you need to lap or stretch, and you can stretch them into the palm of the hand. I never showed that off. So let's go ahead and straighten these fingers. And then fold them into the palm of the hand. And then run through all those possibilities. So you can see, oops, I was trying to grab the middle finger, grab the palm instead. There we go. So now you can see all that layering gives us any finger overlap over an object that we want. And I forgot the palm of the hand. See the line in the palm that shouldn't be there on the back. So we need to go back into the action. And when the hand reverses at 53. So at 53 is where the palm flips up. So at that point, we no longer want to see the line in the palm of the hand. So we're going to go to the palm, the right palm, the correct palm. We're going to grab that line with T and grab the line. And just like that. And then hit W, and we're going to just bring the reduction of the width to 0. Then we're going to back up 1 point on our timeline and change it back to 100. So now that palm line will disappear. Now I think I also forgot to make that palm line stretch. I did. So here it should be stretching with the palm of the hand. So let's do that. Whoops, I'm going to use Alt, and that way it stretches from the center. And I always look to put this point right in the center of the thumb. So now we're going to go the opposite at 65, and it's there as well. We're just going to click on it, and it looks like it'd be a little bit taller in this direction. And now we go back to 33, and we reset that to normal. So now we've got our complete hand functionality. Showing right lit. I think that's left over from before. So there we go. Let's clear out all animation. Go to the bone layer. Clear all animation this way. There we go. And we got a problem because our colors are back to not solid. Let's go to the construction layer and go into those styles and fix them there. That way they should be back to normal. Body 2. Nope, body. There it is. And there we go. So let me test out everything on that hand. I'm going to go into, there we go, the animation layer. It's still the right colors. We can rotate the hand up, rotate the hand down. We can stretch the thumb and shrink it. Stretch the forefinger and hold it into the hand. Middle finger into the hand. Middle finger into the hand. We can change the overlapping. We see only the back of the palm here and the fingers. So we can extend the fingers here again, and they will still do their overlapping process. So anything you want to do with the fingers, if you want to put a baton in there and twirl the baton, it's possible. And as you can see, the fingers rotate as they should. And we can form just about any hand shape that we would like, just by bending the bones to what we want. And there's one more thing I need to do, and that is in the hand flip to do the wrist twist, is to do the stick in the hand, the object in the hand. So we're going to take that object, and its object layer, select it, and holding Alt, we're going to stretch it out into a long stick. Let's go right to the top of our little note marker there. We can just barely see it poke out. Or not. Then we go to the 65 for the extreme. This is actually 64. May as well fix that here. Just moving all this to 65. Then we're going to go to 65 and set it again. Then we're going to go to 33 and reset. So now when we rotate the hand, the object rotates with it. Now of course, because we've got it selected, it looks like it's distorting. So let's go back to the main line. And we're in the animation layer. Let's go ahead and clear animation from the document. So now our hand's at rest, and we're going to go into frame 1 and manipulate the bones so we can twist the hand, and as you can see, the object twists with it, and we can overlap the fingers. So there, the thumb stays on the object as the hand rotates. Okay, and we can do the same with these fingers, of course. We can rotate those inward. Looks like I've still got some parts from the other hand over there coming across. So there we go. We can overlap those fingers and the thumb in whichever manner we like, and get every possible configuration for holding on to that sticking hand that we need. So there we go. We've got a fully functional hand, and all the parts are working. The object in hand, I generally leave that turned off because you really don't need to see it, but it can be replaced with any object, but you will have to rotate it north and south to match the rotation of the hand. So that's it. There's my new dynamic hand for this character. So just another reminder, please visit our website, dangeraware.org. Please visit dangeraware.org. We're going to have our 3rd anniversary gala soon in Fresno, California. Tickets are only $25 a piece. It helps change the paradigm of abuse awareness. And you'll be able to check out what we've been doing lately and what we have planned for the future. So check out these wonderful articles given to us by Parenting with Chris. And then you can see we've got our ebook and our games. We've got 5 games now. You can visit our contests, you can read our comics, and you can go to our merchandise. Check out our merchandise store. You can purchase the notebook you see there. It's our Respect My Personal Space notebook, and there's the front of it. The back of it has the green and blue astronauts there, and you can choose the color of your notebook. So $20, yeah, it's a bit for a little notebook, but it is for helping charity and changing the paradigm of abuse awareness. We also have some shirts and sweatshirts with the Respect My Personal Space theme on them as well. Nice little pocket handle, you know, a hand warmer pocket there in the front. And respect my personal space, dangerwear.org. $45.99. Actually, that's not bad for such a nice hoodie as this one. So you can also get a coffee cup, which is $20. But again, the money is not about the cup. It's about helping our charity change the paradigm of abuse awareness. The more we get, the better our games can be. The better our games, the more children will want to visit our site. The more children want to visit our site, the more they will learn about personal rights and how to call out abuse. So please visit dangerwear.org. Please visit our Teespring shop and purchase our apparel, or we do have t-shirts as well. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it, and hit that like, hit subscribe. The more people that watch, the more that YouTube will suggest that other people watch as well. The more you hit that like button, the more YouTube will tell other people, hey, check out Dangerwear and see what they're doing. So please hit that like, hit that subscribe, and share with others what we're doing. Let others in on how they too can help change the paradigm of abuse awareness. Thank you.
Stranger could be the one that you adore. Watch for the things that cause alarm. Watch for the one that would do you harm. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that lives next door. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that you adore. Please be alert and be aware of all the dangers anywhere. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that lives next door. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that you adore. Stand your ground and speak out loud. Let the world know harm's all around. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that lives next door. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that you adore. Danger, danger. Danger, danger. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one